And good afternoon. Welcome to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Matt Del Vecchio, specializing in home care, downsizing in the senior living industry. Thanks for tuning in. Coming up on the first half of the show, we're talking AI, artificial intelligence. At what point do we stop believing what we see? AI is advancing so quickly, and it's a concern for us. Yet there are many positive aspects also, including the improvement of our overall health and well-being. Well, we're going to be talking to a neuroscientist specializing in AI and how it's affecting our brains. And the Teresa Deller Community Foundation is collecting funds with the goal of distributing clothing and food to the needy. I'm going to be talking to Gavin Fernandez about this heartfelt and important annual drive. Gavin's in studio with me, and on the second half of the show, well, there's no stopping older adults when it comes to romance and the bedroom. Dr. Lori Betito. Of course, we have to have Dr. Lori talking about this. She's going to be joining me also in studio to discuss how our older population still strives for loving relationships. And are some of them going a bit too far? Well, we're going to find out. That's going to come up after the 4:30 news. All right, we're hearing so much about artificial intelligence, or AI as it's known. It's becoming a little worrisome. So I wanted to get the opinion of Dr. Blake Richards, who is the Associate Professor in the School of Computer Science in the Department of Neurology and Neurosurgery at McGill. One of his specialties is exploring the connection between imagination, artificial intelligence, and our brains. Dr. Richards, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for joining me. An important topic that's gaining in popularity. So AI is advancing rapidly. Dr. Richards, you see it firsthand in your research, and there are concerns that the images we see online and social media may not even be real. In fact, it probably AI generated. So how prevalent is it? And can you provide us perhaps with some examples for our listeners that they might be able to relate to?
Sure. So indeed, the prevalence of AI-generated images online is increasing pretty rapidly. We now have artificial intelligence systems that are capable of generating very realistic photos or images of like artwork in various forms just from text prompts. So you can just tell the AI system what you want an image of, and it will generate it for you. Perhaps most infamously, many of us saw an image of the Pope wearing what looked like a puffy sort of Michelin Man-like jacket of the kind that rappers in my youth used to wear, and everyone thought it was very amusing. But of course, it wasn't actually something that the Pope had actually worn. This was just an AI-generated image that circulated all over the internet and which many people, myself included, at first took for real. And as these sorts of images spread, we're all going to have to be a little bit more wary of what we see online.
And, we're talking images here, but now we're seeing more and more videos, and AI-generated videos are becoming more popular. Very concerning, actually. So are you actually saying that entire videos we see online may not even be real?
Certainly. We're not quite at the point yet with the technology where the videos are yet quite as believable as some of the images, but we will be there in the not too distant future. I think it's safe to say that before the close of the 2020s, we will be in a situation where if you see a video of something online, you can't be guaranteed that that video is real. It might have been AI generated.
Just amazing. You're listening to Life Unrehearsed here, Matt Del Vecchio, and I'm talking with neuroscientist Dr. Blake Richards about AI and, how we may have to have our guard up with what we see online and in social media. Now, speaking of having our guard up, we're almost at a point where we're not going to be able to trust anything we see. So, Dr. Richards, what can we do to try and differentiate between what is real and what is AI?
Well, there's two answers to that question. One is that on a purely technical level, it is possible in principle to have digital watermarking technology, such that anything that were generated by an AI would be marked somehow in a manner that would allow you to determine that it was in fact an AI that generated it. Now, in order to ensure that people were only making content that had those watermarks, we would require appropriate government regulations, something to make it illegal to generate realistic-looking videos for non-satire purposes, say, without a watermark. Additionally, though, I think we are all just going to have to get more comfortable with the idea that if you simply see something shared by one of your friends on social media, Facebook, whatever, that you can't necessarily trust it until you've actually seen that it's been verified by trusted news sources. To some extent, we already live in that world. It should be noted, as has been said many times before. There was a lot of misinformation that's been shared in various election campaigns in various democracies around the world in recent years, but that's just going to get worse to some extent. So we all have to just put ourselves on guard, I think, to really not trust something that we see on social media until we've really seen verification of it from appropriate sources.
Right. And like you're saying, and especially as the technology advances, it's going to be even more difficult to determine whether it's real or not, be it an image or a video. You talk about this watermark technology. The technology exists, like you say, though, and we see this sometimes on photos where in the background you've got that watermark. They can do this for AI generated, but you're going to need a whole lot of government intervention and decisions. So that's easier said than done, isn't it?
Precisely. And furthermore, you can never guarantee that there won't be people who will bypass any sorts of legislation like that. And so that necessity to maintain one's skepticism will remain regardless of how well regulated the market is.
Talking with neuroscientist Dr. Blake Richards about AI. And, okay, it's almost a doom and gloom situation there as we discuss it. But let's turn the tables around here because there is certainly some positive to AI. So can you provide us perhaps, Dr. Richards, with some examples of how AI is working to our advantage, I guess starting with increased productivity, correct?
That's right, certainly. So AI systems will massively increase the productivity of our economy. We're already seeing it happen. For me, myself, I use ChatGPT, which is an AI system for generating text, a fair bit. I use it, for example, to help me with writing reference letters because I can provide it with a short bullet point list of things I want to say about a person, and then ChatGPT will help me pump out a letter that says those things, but in much less time than it would take me to write the letter myself. It probably halves or quarters the amount of time that it takes me to write these sorts of letters. And we'll see that kind of increase in productivity across the entire economy, particularly in white-collar jobs. If you're, say, searching for documents as a law clerk or trying to summarize reports for a corporate board, these sorts of things will become massively easier, much quicker, and as a whole, our economy will be able to be much more productive. So there are going to be real benefits, and there will be many benefits also within healthcare, and in particular, I believe, healthcare for brain health.
Yeah, I want to expand on that because that is the exciting part of it. The healthcare in general. In fact, we had a guest on our show about a few months ago was talking about how X-rays are normally viewed by human eyes and how AI can make that process a lot more efficient and maybe even pick it up quicker than the human eye can, should there be some concerns in an X-ray. So I'd love to expand a little bit on how this AI and its developments and the technology can help with the brains. I know this is an area that you're focusing in on, so could you tell us about some of the exciting developments and how it could affect the benefits for us, specifically for the brain?
Sure. So brain activity is very complex. The brain is an incredibly intricate, highly interconnected organ that can change throughout the lifetime and is very variable between individuals. And that can make it very hard to develop technologies to improve brain health and treat brain diseases. But with the help of AI, we can start to identify patterns, be it in the activity of a person's brain or in their genetics or whatever, that will help us to do things like predict whether or not they're going to go on to develop a particular type of Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, or they diagnose whether their epilepsy is going to be drug resistant or not. Another example that we're working on in my lab and many other labs are working on is for paralyzed people. You would like to be able to give them the ability to control a computer just by using their brain so that they can still go about their lives, send emails, communicate with people, etc., control a wheelchair maybe, despite the fact that they have no control over their body. And AI systems have helped us make a lot of progress towards that goal. And I think it's safe to say that within the next few years, thanks to the development of these sorts of systems, we really are going to have a situation where lots of new developments, whether it be helping a paralyzed person to control a computer or diagnosing someone's potential dementia or whatever, is much, much better than we ever could have achieved without AI systems in the loop.
Well, that's the exciting part of AI, Dr. Richards, and you keep going. We need people like you, and I know there's an army of researchers using AI that will benefit us all, and it's not so long in the distant future nearby. So I really do want to thank you for taking a little time here on a Sunday and help spreading not so much the negative, but also the positive of AI.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. That's Dr. Blake Richards, who's the Associate Professor in the School of Computer Science in the Department of Neurology and Neurosurgery at McGill University. All right. Coming right up, collecting socks and underwear for the needy. I'm going to be talking to Gavin Fernandez about the annual Teresa Deller Sock and Underwear Drive.